Brilliant. Okay, we are live and we are recording. So yes, welcome everybody. And before we get started, I'm going to open it up to any questions, anything that came up from last week, any comments, anything at all. And if you don't, that's also fine. I also want to say that feel free as we move through the workshop to pop in any comments that may come up for you. You know, if you might get a ping on something or you might get a zing, just feel free to pop it in the comments because it's, you know, sometimes it's great to have that interactivity and we can go back to it later. And it also can be a reminder as well for you for something that might have, you know, resonated, an actual physical, palpable response in your body. So great. So last week was a good introduction to intuition. And as I said, I always start with this archetypal idea to lead us in there, to give us this overarching understanding of the archetypal patterns that we're working with. Because when we're working with archetypal patterns, we know that we're working with patterns that can really lead us to more knowledge, a higher understanding of ourselves, and a more in-depth understanding of ourselves as conscious beings. And I also wanted to say personally, my feedback from last week was that the goddess Saraswati really, really stuck with me. It was like all week she kept coming to me. And in fact, I had this kind of alignment set up where I met somebody who is also working with Saraswati, and you never really hear of anybody working with Saraswati. So it was just a very kind of aligned moment for me. And I bring that up to also just kind of allow you to be in that same open state. Not only in this workshop, but for those of you that are traveling into the Akashic Records journey, that if there are any multidimensional guides, if there are any goddesses or angels that particularly come up for you, that, you know, that stick with you, that you feel are resonating with you, that continue to really talk to you, allow that and invite that in fact. Because, you know, these particular multidimensional beings, these particular frequencies are coming in to help our soul evolve, and they speak to our soul contract and to our particular frequency and to where we're at on our healing journey. So, yeah, and also just to say that, yeah, we'll be working with a lot more Saraswati energy through this 7 weeks because I've pretty much fallen in love, actually. Yeah, which is brilliant, actually, because her energy is very much about expressing your own particular art through your intuition. And we, you know, everybody on this masterclass is already at a certain point in their healing journey. So it is a particularly awesome frequency for this set of goddesses in this training. All right, great. So let's get started. So the tarot card and the archetype that really came through for me isn't one that directly goes in line with the priestess. Yeah, it's actually with the high priestess, it's actually something that kind of doesn't follow that lineage, but I tussled around with it and it really just felt very aligned for what came through for today's workshop. And that is this card, which is this archetype, which is judgment. And so this is the second last card in the heroine's journey before that she reaches unity consciousness. And this, you can see that there is a lot of people standing underneath this fiery angel. And basically what happens is that she comes from the sun, from feeling very much connected to source, feeling very much connected to this creator consciousness, to the source of all energy. And then she is ready to step into this unity consciousness, but something pulls her back. And that something is this fiery angel that appears. And this fiery angel is beautiful. At the same time, it's kind of overwhelming and scary. And they're also sounding a trumpet. And so any time that you get like a, you know, a really, really intense sound, whether that's coming from your intuition or whether that's, you know, some kind of sound in your dream that's waking you up, that's bringing you kind of online, like grabbing your attention. That's what that trumpet with this fiery angel is doing. It's grabbing our heroine's attention to say, no, there's actually something else you need to pay attention to before you can step into unity consciousness, before you can become a world dancer. And that particular thing that they're calling their attention to is to lay at rest their past, to heal their past, to come to terms with their past. And the reason that I say that is because in the picture, we've got these literal people rising from the dead, these literal people rising from a past time. And we could get nitty gritty about what that is, but that could be certainly memories, that could be ancestral, yep, that could be past lives. You know, we can go down the dimensions of that, but it literally is calling up what hasn't been dealt with, what hasn't been forgiven, what hasn't been met. And that's what we're going to be talking about today, and how that particularly manifests. So, one other thing about this card before we move on is that I think that it's really important to say that this is the first time in the heroine's journey where she is actually looking at that angel, and looking at that angel with the perception of she's looking into higher dimensions. She's looking at illumination. She's looking at a consciousness that is beyond human. She's looking at a consciousness that is higher than herself. And so she is ready to really kind of embrace that illumination. And because she's looking at a consciousness that is beyond Earth, that is a higher being, that is a multi-dimensional being, then what that's saying is that that power that that angel can bring is the healing power that she is going to use to lay the past to rest. So that brings me into talking about the fact that over the last 20 years, I would say that the ability to tap into these higher dimensional beings, the ability to tap into these higher dimensional places has increased, right? So 20 years ago, I give myself that analogy by going, you know, when I was meditating and doing this work 20 years ago, I questioned whether aliens even existed, right? That's where I was at 20 years ago. Now, aliens are no longer aliens, but they're some of my greatest allies, right? So they've become so familial. And I think that's a twofold path. That's a path of me seeking that illumination. That's a path of me doing the work on myself. And if you're resonating with that, I'm talking about you too. But it is also the path of what is being made accessible for us who are open to it here on Earth, that the Earth is ascending, that the capacity to access these energies are ascending. So we are in fact in an intuitive age. it kind of seems like everybody's intuitive these days, right? And that is, you know, true. Well, we are all intuitive, yeah, but it seems like everybody's intuitive skill is coming online more and more and more and more, yeah, because of that twofold path. So again, we're going to unpack this for 30 minutes. In that last 20 minutes, we're going to do an activation, and then we'll open it up to any questions if there are any. So last week we talked a lot about, we talked a little bit about trauma, and we talked about that being the stop on the flow of intuition. Yeah, and certainly, you know, we hold so much of that trauma in our body. Yeah. So that memory is stored in the body. Memory is stored actually in the physical body. And when it's stored in the physical body, that is how then we get to the place where we react without having any control over it. Yeah, that something in the physical body is triggered and then we react and we don't actually have any control. Now, I want to go ahead and I'm going to start talking about the chakras and how they are a brilliant place for us wanting to heal ourselves and also being healers for others as a place to start to really begin to unpack this trauma and to really unpack how we heal. And I'm going to talk about the chakras in particular because the chakras are the point where the energy body and the physical body meet. So they're really brilliant tools for us to learn how to bring out these memories, unpack these memories, face these memories, bring them out of the physical body through the energy body and meet them and heal them. So, you know, and the chakras are particularly good because they also indicate for certain parts of the physical body what may be going on. So, for example, if we are having digestive issues, yeah, that may be a third or second chakra issue. We can then really start to look at how perhaps that person is not, you know, maybe they're not able to step into their power because they're not able to kind of digest what's happening. They're holding on, they're having this control, right? And in that holding on, they're not surrendering to life. There's all sorts of clues, and I'm sure that you're pretty familiar with it. And the purpose of today isn't to really talk about the chakras and what the ailment is that goes with it. Yeah, I am going to leave that up to your own particular intuition and your own particular guidance for your own self. And there's also a lot of information out there about that. We're going to talk about how the chakras and how that physical body gets hijacked, how the intuitive flow gets hijacked. So let's just say that you have a brilliant idea, right? Or you have an intuitive spark. An inspired intuitive spark about what you need to do next in your life. And you feel that that intuitive spark is really kind of coming from a higher place. It's coming from your higher self. Yeah, pretty sure that that, you know, is your intuition talking to you. So let's just say that that idea is, you know, it's time to start a healing business. So what happens if you think about the flow of that idea, and we talked about this last week, is that that intuition drops down from a higher place. Yeah, it's dropping down from above that seventh chakra. And as a journey, it's going to be coming through those chakras. Yeah. Until it gets to the base chakra where then it can be made manifest, it can be made physical. But along the way, it has to get through all of those chakras and it has to get through all that physical and energy body for it to be made manifest, right? So So I think this is where it becomes really interesting. And I want you to think about perhaps an intuitive idea that you've had, an inspired idea that you have felt that is really on path and purpose for you, and how that didn't happen and why it didn't happen. And we're going to kind of unpack this a little bit here, right? So as it kind of descends through that seventh chakra, yeah, it's moving through that realm, okay? And because you've accepted it as an intuitive idea, it's going to move through that seventh chakra, okay? And then it's going to move into the sixth chakra, okay? So it's going to move here. And as it moves through that sixth chakra, you have the capacity to, whether you're conscious of it or not conscious of it, for it to be accepted through that energy center. And there are certain things that are going to make it not accepted. And those certain things that are going to make it not accepted are, you know, your own particular trauma. They may be things that have happened to you in your life. They may be things that have been passed through to your family. They may be ancestral. They may be past life. And this becomes more and more apparent as we go further and further and further and further down the chakras. So when we're talking about this particular sixth chakra here, right, we are talking really about beliefs, your beliefs. And in this particular chakra, you may have the belief that a healing business right now is probably like not what people want. You may thought that you may have beliefs of all sorts that a healing business wouldn't be successful, right? So it has to go through your beliefs first of all. And if your beliefs are hijacking, that intuitive idea, then it's going to stop right there, and it's not going to move on through the rest of your energy body, through the rest of your physical body for it to be processed. Okay, your belief hijacks it, and that idea is see you later, and you pack it away. But let's just say that your belief system goes, yep, no problem. I believe that this is a great idea. Then you are going to move into that fifth chakra. Yep. So that fifth chakra is all about your will. Okay. And that will, how that may appear is that, do I have enough will to do this? Yeah. Do I have enough courage to do this? Can I express myself in the world to the capacity that I'm going to need to in order to fulfill this? How confident am I in my own will? How confident am I in expressing that will in the world? And if it gets through that will center, then it can move on to the next chakra. But if you don't have that confidence of being able to express your will in the world, then it's going to get thwarted and move on and be packed up. Okay, so then after that, you know, and I also want you to remember that, you know, like it might not even be your own will. It might be the will of, let's just say that you're a young adult. It might be the will of your parents overriding your will. Might be the will of your spouse. Yes, so it comes down to that question of, okay, so I've looked at my own will and it's still not getting through. So who's owning my will? Have you given your willpower away to somebody else? Or is your willpower perhaps, you know, kind of stuck in maybe a trauma that that you're consciously not aware of. So I'm saying to you that there is layers, right? You may on the conscious level be saying, yeah, I have a lot of willpower and I can express my will in the world. But I want you to think about perhaps some ideas that maybe you regret that you didn't do, or, I want you to start thinking about it in terms of these deeper layers. So it's able to go through that fifth center. So now we go to the heart center, the fourth center. And now it's all about, how do you feel about this? Yeah, how do you feel about it? Does it feel good? Do you literally feel in love with the idea? Do you have enough self-love to move forward with this? Do you have the emotional processing power to go through all of the turbulations and the bumps and the highs and the lows of bringing something like this into the world? Do you have that emotional processing power? Do you have ownership over your emotions? Is this where you get hijacked? If I think back on my life, yes, certainly, I for sure. And also, interestingly, this is a big one in this area, and one that I have definitely done a lot of, is asking other people what they think for me, and then listening to their emotional understanding of it, and then hijacking my idea because they didn't think it was a good idea. So do you process that emotion for yourself? Do you have ownership over that? And if that is all resonant and if that's all fine, then we move to the third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, which is all about confidence, which is all about self-esteem. It's all about that. Am I good enough to bring this into the world? And I think that this chakra is the one where a lot of us fall down, because this is the chakra of confidence. This is that point where it moves from being an idea where you kind of have to start making it physical. Yeah. You've processed the emotion around it. So now it's time to start actually doing something about it. You have to have the confidence to actually step forward and make a decision. And do you have the self-esteem, to carry this through? So if you have that kind of low confidence, if you have that low self-worth, then this is where you can get unstuck. However, as this one is aligned, then you're going to move to that second chakra. And now it really is action time. Now you need to do something to make this kind of happen in the world. It's like you either need to put some money down, or you need to commit some time. You need to take action in the physical world in that second chakra. Yeah. You need to commit some resources. Let's put it like that. And so, do you own your resources? Have you been able to create enough power for yourself in the world to have your own money? Yeah. And I know that that's not always black and white. Yeah. Children and all of that. But have you been able to do that? Do you have your own resources? Do you own your own time? Do you own your own money? It gets pretty sticky, doesn't it? Are you willing to make the commitment? And okay, so herein lies a really big one, so you can see from kind of you can see from, third and second chakra down that you really start to come up against some real human, very, very integral human issues. So this one in the second chakra is all about control. Are you going to let go enough of control of your life in order to make a commitment to do this? Are you going to stay controlled with what you know? Do you have to be in control that much that you cannot step out and do this? Control, control, control certainly is that second chakra issue. Yeah. If you're having trouble making that manifest in the world, you know, and this particular chakra, as you feel like, oh yeah, that's I do have control issues, then look at where the control in your life might have stopped you. And then finally, we move to the first chakra. And the first chakra is one that is all about the control of your family. So are you still stuck in that mindset of needing the approval of your family, needing the approval of your tribe, needing the approval of your friends or your community? And, you know, I'd like to say that, yeah, God, I've moved past that a long time ago. Are you kidding me? No worries. I'm a rebel, in fact. You know, I do exactly what they tell me. I do the opposite, you know, of what they tell me to do. But we make these unconscious vows. Yeah, we make these unconscious vows with our family, whether we like it or not. It happens. We certainly do. We have these allegiances and these loyalties that are beyond our conscious mind, that we consciously, like we make them unconsciously when we, you know, are young, so that we can survive, right? Because we're talking about, you know, the survival instinct here, the strongest instinct that we have. So if we don't think that we have these allegiances, we absolutely do, right? So it's pretty huge, as you can see, as it flows through. There is a lot going on, and there's a lot to unpack, and a lot going on unconsciously as well. You know, which energy centers are we fully owning? Which energy centers can we say that we claim fully as sovereign? Yeah. Yes. Yes. So it reminds me of this particular analogy. So I don't know if any of you have ever been to India, but India is a particularly palpable place in terms of what it does to your senses. And I remember being there, quite a newbie. I was quite a newbie there, and I'm walking down this street in Delhi. And honestly, it was just pure chaos, right? Like you're just assaulted with smells and senses and people and colors and noise, right? And traffic, right? And people up in your face hustling you. I mean, like it is an assault of the senses. And, you know, like literally, like you can't even breathe. That's how intense it is. The exhaust from all of the engines is just like stuff, you know, just blah. And then there's just the stench of, you know, human, literal human and cow feces, just feces everywhere, right? Like it's just intense. And there's this feeling of like, oh my God, I'm not even going to survive just walking down the street. Like, this is, how do people live like this? How is this possible? And I was traveling with a friend who had booked this really swanky hotel, right? So we went from this absolute intensity, and then we went into the hotel and we went up to the lift and we went up to the, you know, the highest floor. And then we see that street and we see beyond that street from a whole different perspective. And it was a completely different world. You know, it was air conditioned. We couldn't hear anything downstairs. We couldn't smell any of, you know, smell any of the 100 smells. Like, it was just calm and just a completely different India. And, you know, that really makes me smile, that analogy, because it's kind of like, what floor, what level, what perspective are you looking through the lens of? And we can even break that down even more and go like, what, you know, when you look through the perspective of those chakras, you know, what is happening? How do you feel? What's your control about it? What, you know, just like, what's your esteem about it? So, you know, being able to gauge up into those higher perspectives really helps, but it also helps to be kind of also down here and really see it from that place of empowerment, knowing that you have the sovereign choice to see it from a completely different perspective, right? Because no judgment, being on that ground floor and experiencing it for what it is, experiencing that survival level is just as important, as long as you're doing it from the perspective that you do have choice. So let's talk about now, how do we heal all of this? How do we heal it all? So the first step is, you know, self-knowledge. And we've talked a little bit about this, and it really is about coming into that relationship with yourself. It's about being able to peer through each of those perspectives and understand your relationship to that particular chakra, understand your relationship to that trauma and that chakra and that energy center. And being able to understand that these are inherited beliefs, a lot of them. Being able to understand that you have been hijacked a lot of the time. A lot of the time, this wasn't, you know, it was an unconscious choice of yours. That this hijacking happened without you even being aware of it. This hijacking happened because of unconscious vows with our family. But the self-knowledge and the healing tells us that we are destined to heal it, that we're destined to go beyond it, that we're not stuck there. So developing a relationship with yourself is certainly that first step. And coming out of that cycle of sabotage, coming out of that cycle. And by the way, sabotage is definitely a second chakra issue for sure. So the next step is really tapping into that higher healing power, there where we began, that higher healing power. And that is beyond the seventh chakra. This ability that we now have to be able to tap into a grace, to be able to tap into our Akashic records, to be able to tap into a higher energy source that is beyond us, which when we can use those codes of that light healing, we can use that particular light frequency to move through our physical body and our energy body to recode those areas of the body, so that they are cleansed of that debris that isn't ours in the first place. So, are there any questions about any of that? No? Okay, cool. All right, so that is exactly what we are going to do now for the rest of the time. Yeah, is we are going to do some healing. We're going to call on some higher graces. We're going to tap into some beings that can help us particularly work today with these lower chakras. I think that's where we're going to go. Like, if we have time, we'll do all the chakras, but I'm really feeling we probably will just kind of work on first, second, and third, maybe even just one, first and second. And, you know, don't worry, because that, you know, like your chakras, if you heal one chakra, it doesn't mean that then all the others are out of balance, right? So like you can heal one chakra and it can absolutely inform all the others and bring all the others into balance. Yeah, so it's not like you're going to be like overusing in those chakras and then that means the other chakras will be like out of balance. It kind of doesn't work like that. Yes. Anyway, I actually, like when I was in India, I should tell you, I did get told the proper pronunciation, which is chakra. And I should actually pronounce it like that. It's not chakra, it's actually chakra. All right, brilliant. So great. Let's do this. Let's go into some healing. I'm just going to find the music. Okay, beautiful. All right, gorgeous ladies. Beautiful. So just allowing yourself to come into a place where you can receive some higher grace. Come into a place and setting in the intention that I am open to healing today. Setting the intention that I'm open to reclaiming my sovereignty. So just allowing your eyes to close if they're not already. And allowing your spine to be straight, your feet to be on the ground, your shoulders relaxed, mouth relaxed, heart open. Setting aside this time for yourself. And beginning to now connect to that energy streaming down from the central sun. You can go ahead and really begin to connect with your crown chakra. As you open up your vessel, as you open up this body to receive healing light, light frequency. And setting the intention that you are connecting to light that is only of God's plan, setting the intention that you are connecting to only the highest frequency of light and love. And just breathing that energy down through that crown chakra and just allowing it to go through that midline of the body, through the legs, through the feet and into the earth. Really opening up the stomach and allowing the breath and that light to relax the stomach and to let go of any fear, let go of any expectation, just to be surrendering to the light streaming in, to the golden column of light streaming in. Now surrounding yourself in a golden pyramid. So we're going to set up some extra energy and protection today. So just surrounding yourself. We're going to call upon some extra self-compassion energy today, some extra loving compassion energy today with the Archangel Chamuel. Just calling her into your energy field. You might like to experience this as a soft pink light. And just surrounding that pyramid with that soft pink light of Chamuel as we call in some self-compassion energy, some softness, the pathway to healing. Of course you feel this way. And just allowing everything to soften with that love. And now we're going to call in an ascended master of an alchemist to alchemize any of the debris that's going to be coming off our chakras today. Anything that's going to need to be cleansed and transmuted. So we're going to be working with the alchemist Melchizedek and just allowing him to ignite a fire, a golden fire, just outside of your pyramid, which will catch any of the debris. And lastly, we're going to call in some goddess energy, Saraswati energy, and she's just going to come behind us, just supporting us with her courage, with her will to move through whatever needs to be healed. That it is our will that allows this. It is our will that commands this. And we use the extra energy of Saraswati to support our own will. So just connecting with that golden column of light again and traveling to the feet. We are going to open up now the Earth Star Chakra. So just see a portal of light opening up beneath your feet, and you can use that golden column of light spiraling into the earth to open up that portal. And we're going to open up that 12th chakra of the Gaia Gateway. So opening up the Gaia Gateway chakra with that spiraling light. And just seeing that earth open up beneath you. We're going to connect into the crystalline grid of the earth. So just seeing, sensing, feeling, or imagining now that crystalline grid of the earth lighting up almost like neural pathways of the earth. Almost like it lights up like quartz. That there are these crystalline grid pathways traveling everywhere in the core of the earth, lighting up like neural networks all around the earth. And just feeling the sense of that light pulsating like quartz, pulsating through the grid lines of the earth. And breathing that up through that portal, through that earth star into your feet. Breathe it up, breathe it up, breathe it up. Breathe up that crystalline grid of the earth. You're going to breathe it up through the feet, through the legs, and into that base chakra. Allowing that crystalline grid of the earth, the pulsating light, to move through your base chakra. And just making sure now that as you breathe that light in, you just adjust whatever you need to adjust in your body to allow that area to completely surrender and completely let go. How relaxed can you make it? As you allow that crystalline grid of the earth to touch all of the areas of that base chakra, the first chakra. Allow any debris now as that light begins to touch all of the corners of that base chakra. Watch how the light meets any darkness or any stuckness. Watch how they begin to intertwine. And allow the light to really begin to spin that debris off. Breathe it out through the pyramid and into the fire. As you need to, breathe up more of that energy from the crystalline grid of the earth into that base chakra. And just watch as that debris then begins to come unstuck. You can literally see it coming off the walls of that area of the body. And just really allowing any debris now to become unstuck as you breathe that in, breathe that in, breathe that in. And I want you to get to the place where you are breathing in that crystalline grid of the earth into that base chakra. Until that chakra, you sense it intuitively, you sense that it begins to spin. And it may be spinning slowly at first, but just keep breathing in that crystalline grid of the earth until it spins freely. Till it begins to spin of its own accord. And as it spins, it just throws off whatever it needs to throw off. It's throwing off any vows that you've taken consciously or unconsciously that are holding you back. Vows of allegiance that no longer serve you. Vows to a family system that you can still belong to, but you don't need to have. Vows that no longer serve this soul contract, this higher destiny. That you are no longer a servant of the fate of that. That you take sovereignty of your first chakra. I claim the sovereignty of my first chakra. It is commanded to release, dissolve, delete, and repair any vows, oaths, seals, or agreements of the first chakra that no longer serve my highest purpose. Watch as the wheel spins this off. And just breathing that crystalline grid of the earth into that area and allowing that fire to transmute anything. Beautiful. Let's move into the second chakra now. So breathing that crystalline grid of the earth into the second chakra. Into the center of your self-esteem. Into the center of your sexuality. Breathing the crystalline grid into this area. Again, just allowing the light of that crystalline grid to spin off anything that needs to be spun off. To filling that area with the light codes of that crystalline ascended grid. Picking up any intuitive information that you're receiving about that chakra. And just allowing that chakra to spin. Spin at the pace that is optimal. Spin at the pace that allows that chakra to operate at its optimal level, to operate with sovereignty. To operate with the self-esteem that aligns with your soul contract. With your highest purpose and destiny. Just allowing anything that needs to be transmuted by the fire to be transmuted today. And just calling in some of that Shamuel self-love energy. Just calling that into that chakra. And just breathing through that chakra. Letting go of control, letting go of having to know, just surrendering and allowing. Beautiful. And now we're moving into that solar plexus chakra. And breathing up that crystalline grid of the earth. Just grounding and grounding if you need some extra grounding. Just allowing that crystalline grid of the earth to begin to spin off any debris in that chakra. Filling that chakra with the crystalline light codes of the ascended earth grid. And pulling back your power. Pulling back your power into this chakra. Intuitively pulling it from the sides of you, from in front of you, from behind you. Pulling back your self-power. Pulling back where you might have given your power away, where you don't own your power, where you give it over to others. As you pull it back with the breath and you pull it back with the help of the crystalline grids, feel it returning to you. And as you feel it returning to you, you see that chakra begin to spin optimally. That your power belongs to you and no one else. And that you're using this power, this sovereign power, as a force for good in the world. And it emanates out of you like a golden sun. And as that chakra spins optimally, you see the second chakra and the first chakra all spinning together with it. And just feeling that extra energy of Saraswati, just really giving that solar plexus chakra an extra boost, just really giving it some of that extra golden energy. So let's move into the heart chakra now. As we move into the heart chakra, we are going to connect up, first of all, above our head. We're going to connect with that golden source light. We're going to connect with the central sun. And we're going to connect through that stellar gateway chakra above our crown chakra into that celestial gateway. We're going to call on that celestial gateway. I'm going to call on that central sun energy. We're going to call on that pure source light energy to descend through that soul contract in the stellar gateway, as it activates our soul contract and activates through our intuition, through that crown chakra and into the heart. And as it does, just allow the heart to breathe with that. Breathe through the heart, the energy of that central sun, the energy of our soul contract, the energy of our intuition. Allow that heart space to be activated. To expand with that. Remembering to make any physical adjustments that you need to make, and now to allow that heart to expand with that energy. And allowing that energy now of the crystalline grid of the earth to rise up through the feet and to meet that celestial energy in the heart. As the crystalline grid of the earth and that golden source energy intermingles through the heart, unifies through the heart. And it just allowing any emotional debris as that chakra of the heart begins to spin at optimal speed. Just allowing any of that heart energy that doesn't serve you, that doesn't belong to you, old, outdated emotions and programs, feelings you've taken on that don't belong to you. Allow those to be spun off using the breath, using the energy above, below. I claim my heart. I claim my emotions as my own. And just feeling the chakra of that fourth energy center of the heart, the solar plexus, second chakra, sacral, base chakra first. Just feel them all spinning. Connected and spinning. And we're going to move really quickly now through the rest of the chakras. So moving now into the fifth chakra, into the chakra of your will. And really pulling in that energy of Saraswati, pulling in that turquoise, illuminated turquoise energy. To move through that fifth energy center. allowing that chakra to spin, allowing it to spin off any debris, allowing it to spin anywhere where you have allowed others to own your will. Allowing that energy center to spin optimally. Any words that have spoken that aren't your own truth. Any times that you have been clogged up there and expressing your will and expressing your truth. Allow those to be released. And Saraswati just placing her energy in her hands over that chakra as it is just spinning optimally now and releasing, releasing, releasing into that fire of transmutation. And moving into the 6th chakra now. Into your 3rd eye. And just allowing that energy to descend from source and rise up from the earth grid. Through that 3rd eye. And just allowing your inspiration, allowing your beliefs to be your own, your mind center to be your own, owning your ideas, owning your beliefs. As that chakra spins off any debris that doesn't belong to you, any debris that doesn't serve your soul contract, any debris that doesn't allow your intuition to flow. It is commanded now to release any debris that no longer serves this energy center, making it sovereign, making your beliefs your own. And just connecting that now to your base chakra, to the 1st chakra. Just connecting those 2 energy centers so those beliefs become grounded, allowing them to flow through. Allowing them to flow through all the centers. As that 1st chakra spins, 2nd chakra, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Seeing that flow and that rush of energy from 1st to 6th, 6th to 1st. Beautiful, and we arrive now at that 7th chakra. And just allowing that chakra to spin, allowing any debris as we spin off any collective fear, and as we spin off any collective unconscious, as we spin off any connection to the collective unconscious of fear that no longer serves us. And just allowing that spiraling chakra now, that spinning chakra that connects us to the celestial heavens, that connects us to source, to spiral now through the rest of the chakras. Just allowing that chakra to spin through the rest of the chakras. Very quickly, up, down, connecting all of the chakras. And finally, just connecting that 7th chakra to your Earth Star chakra and to the Gaia Gateway chakra. As we really begin to ground, just really grounding, really connecting now the 7th chakra with the earth. And let's close now the portal to that stellar gateway. Closing the portal of the Gaia gateway. Feeling our body. Feeling all energy centers. Feeling the containment of our body. And also the expansiveness of our body. And finally, just resting in the heart. As you come more and more into alignment with that self-compassion energy, with that compassion and that gratitude. With the recognition of the healing that you've done today, with the recognition of the help that we've received, with the gratitude of your will to be open to this, to be open to a higher destiny, to your soul contract, to the alignment of your will with your highest purpose and power. And arriving back into this new timeline, into this new body, into this new environment, and into this new body. Welcome back, everybody. So if you do have some time now, I definitely got activated through my throat chakra. Still some debris clearing there. So if you have some time now, please just do some intuitive writing and some flow into just particular chakras that you feel may have had more stuff to clear. You know, just do some intuitive writing on that process. Yeah, and allow that flow to be complete by doing some writing. Just closing that off for yourself, just being aware of, you know, where you have been hijacked in your chakras. Being aware of any journeys that you have been on where, you know, that flow did get stopped. So just using this time when you are really, you know, still in a little bit of an altered space, still really resonant with the energy that we went through, to just do a little processing on that and allow this next week you know, allow your discernment and allow your intuition to be around those chakras and to be around the ones that need perhaps some extra energy, to be aware of any vows that you may have taken on, to allow those, you know, to just be processed, allow where we've unconsciously taken on things that are not ours, and for allow that to just keep on healing, keep moving. Yeah, keep up the water. As always, connect with some, you know, type of earth energy today, some extra grounding. A lot of healing went on today. So yes, extra water. And yes, lots of love to you all. Thank you for your co-creation today in this wonderful journey, and very excited for next week as we move into deeper and deeper awareness of our intuition through the Akashic records. Lots of love. Reach out if you need any extra support. I look forward to seeing you next week.